Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. By virtue of the powers vested in me as Vice Chancellor and Principal, I hereby declare that this congregation of the Valley University of Technology is duly constituted for diplomas and degrees to be conferred to those students whose names appear on the program.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a congregation, you are invited to observe a moment as we observe a prayer before we commence with the official program. Dear Almighty, the Omniscient One, we come before you with all humility to serve you and your people. Please guide us in everything that we say and do. Bless each and every one of us and bless our institution. Inspire us to strive for that which is good, and not to be self-seeking and serve our own interest, but let everything be done to your glory. Use us as your vessels of honor, so that the fruit of our labor may endure, for peace and goodwill towards all mankind. We ask this in your name. Amen. You may be seated. Welcome to the graduation ceremony of the Vaal University of Technology at the Van der Bijl Park campus. Vice Chancellor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to welcome you as a congregation gathered here today to witness and celebrate the achievements of our students at VUT on this momentous occasion. A special word of welcome to our distinguished guests, members of staff, family, and friends. To all diplomants, welcome to this long-awaited day. May it be everything you hope for. Vice Chancellor, it is my honor to present to you candidates of the Faculty of Human Sciences of the Vaal University of Technology, whose names appear on the program for receiving of diplomas. Banseke K. Cum laude. Dube Kaitanu, cum laude. Saku, A.B., cum laude. Sebisi, N., cum laude. Baloi P. Baseke S.J. Band R.L. Chaka P. Shalale BN. Shawani MM. Kambule ND. Kanyile SP. Koza GJZ. Kumalu CP. Kumalu MB. Kok A. Letsualu MP. Luruli MF. Madhu R. Mafa MT. Mafini M. Malaba D. Malakuane MT. Makele RV. Malakuane MG. Maleke CD. Maleme KBB. Mankhanye DN. Mankhena T. N. Marakeni LN. Maseko SW. Mashihu FR. Matli TP. Mawelele L. Mbata NE. Mbata RL. Mkontwana ML. Mguni JJ. Mguni MSS. Mguni SOP. Moagi LP. Mofokeng ME. Mohotsi BD. Moyeremani OM. Matipatsani, Mokgatla SM. Mokgatlani SJ. Mkwena MC. Molefe SN. Molefe PP. Musa NM. Mokoba K. Mosiani W. Mudau LE. Namani NS. Narenti KC. Nkolo TJ. Ndaba BP. Nake MD. Ndaba NJ. Ndumu SV. Ngwani LN. Nkosi BE. Nkuna TAE. Nkuna WN. Nkanyana ZSS. Ntekelekua ML. Ntsebe GS. Nyelele NA. Pakati JR. Pretorius DP. Ramabela P. Ramasheba BM. Ratabi TC. Sabani S. Sambu KG. Sebona NJ. Seketi LC. Seleki LB. Selowa RE. Shange MN. Shavanki K. Molefe TT. Shavuri NP. Shoniwa A. Soetsang ME. Chandisa PL. Chikomana MD. Cheredu LN. Watkins N. Kaba LL. And Salishe SJ. Vice-Chancellor, I hereby request that you confer the diplomas in absentia on those students whose names appear on the program but could not be here present today.
I hereby do confer the diplomas in absentia on those students whose names appear on the program but could not be here today.
I thank you, Vice-Chancellor. Then we will have the Vice-Chancellor's Award. These awards are given to students who obtained the highest average in their faculty for the National Diploma, for the Postgraduate Diploma, the Baccalaureus Technology, and the Magister Technologia. In the Faculty of Human Sciences, we have for the Postgraduate Diploma in Higher Education, the highest there is Dubi Kaitanu. I thank you.
Yeah. Another round of applause for the choir, please. The choir master just went and tried to hide, but since he reports to me, I'm summoning him to stand up so that we can give him a round of applause. Mr. Vumile Nomanyama, please. Can you come over? Vubza! Vubza! His name is Mr. Vumile Nomanyama, and he's the choir master of this fantastic choir. My name is Professor Jimbo, and I'm the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Research, and also the Vice Principal. My job, my function is very simple, and that function is to acknowledge all of you and to thank you for coming this evening. I have 3 special guests that I want to recognize first. The first one is Bishop Melusi Mzizi and Miss Zanele Mzizi, both of the St. John's Apostolic Church of Prophecy. Bishop and Miss Mzizi, you are most welcome to this fine institution. I've already offered Miss Mzizi a position in the institution to teach one of our courses, and she agreed to do that. So you're most welcome to this institution. The third person I want to welcome is Dr. Ramusi. Dr. Ramusi is an old friend. We started teaching together at the Rand Afrikaans University in 1995. Don't calculate things you're not supposed to calculate, okay? But thank you very much, Dr. Ramusi. We still want you to continue to do the excellent work that you're doing as a teacher. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I just then want to acknowledge the parents that are sitting here and the parents that are sitting over there. The parents of the students that just got awarded their postgraduate diploma in higher education. I really want to thank you very much on behalf of the institution. That little cent that you hid somewhere, or for some of you who are like my parents who hid the money under the pillow and under the mattress, we thank you very much. The fruits of your efforts, the fruits of your passion, the fruits of your vision, these are the fruits. Their success is your success. Their success is your passion. So thank you very much for supporting them while they were students at this institution. We thank you. The next group of people I want to acknowledge and thank, I know that most of our students are adult students, so they do have spouses, they do have husbands and wives. So I really want to thank the husbands, and I want to thank the wives that supported when you heard them that they had an assignment for Dr. Ramusi, that they had an assignment for Professor Koleka Constance Moloi, that they had an assignment for Dr. Chris Chituma. This is actually true. That's why they got the qualification they got today. So thank you very much for supporting them. I then also want to thank the Executive Dean, Professor Rihanna van der Bank, and I know you're a dean, but I'm going to ask you to stand up so that people can actually see you again. Thank you. That's the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Human Sciences. Thank you very much, Dean. But I want to thank the academics. I've thanked you before for coming in full force to this particular session of our graduation ceremonies. You did demonstrate that indeed you are academics, that indeed you are intellectuals and you understand and appreciate the essence, what some of us call in Latin the fons et origio of an academic procession. So I really want to thank you for coming in full force. But secondly, I want to thank you for all your efforts, for those of you that took part in this particular program where these students, were our students. So I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I'm not going to ask you to stand up, but everybody has seen you. So thank you very much, for coming, and thank you very much for the excellent work that you're doing in the faculty. Then I just want to thank the SRC. The SRC is represented by Bishop. Can you stand up? Thank you very much. He looks very smart today. And he knows why I'm saying that, because that's not his usual regalia. So I'm going to pause for a photograph with him, because he's a very smart guy this evening. Thank you very much. I really want to thank a few of my colleagues. Mr. Mike Boni, who's right here, if you could stand up so that they see you. Mr. Mike Boni is in charge of corporate affairs. Corporate affairs are the people that are partly responsible for this function. They are partly responsible for us being here this evening. Then the next group of people I want to acknowledge are my colleagues from the Registrar's Office, starting with Mrs. Zingwa. If you could just stand up. Sally, thank you. And the gentleman next to her, Mr. George Mofokeng. We thank you very much, George, and your colleagues. They've got a whole team that you saw that was that side, and the team that was here. They really work like ants. Their efficiency is something to write home about. We really thank you, colleagues. And the last person I want to acknowledge is my colleague, the Chief Finance Officer, Mr. Les Kotia. If you could just stand up. So thank you very much. And finally, I want to acknowledge my boss, the Vice Chancellor and Principal of this august institution, Professor Gordon Zide. Once more, say thank you very much for guiding us. Thank you very much for showing all of us what servant leadership is all about. I think you profess and enthuse that kind of leadership across the board. And I really, on behalf of the graduates, the diplomantes this evening, and on behalf of this congregation this evening, want to thank you and wish you long life so that you continue to lead this institution and help us to change the genetic code of this fine institution. Thank you very much, sir.
Moja putero, dita
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. These are indeed the unspoiled voices of Africa. And I think they really do deserve once more a big round of applause. We are living in times between times. And so this afternoon, I want to echo the sentiments expressed by my colleague, Professor Jimbo, for welcoming you all. As you know, those of you who understand the isiZulu language, when you greet by way of giving recognition to the one whom you meet, if it is singular, you say sawubona. And that is the most distinctive way of recognizing a person. I see you, I recognize you. But of course, if it is in the plural, as it is with you, you say sanbonani. And when I say sanbonani, the teacher in me says that the class must respond and say sawubona. Sanbonani. Sanbonani. And that's much better. The choir here, I was warned this morning by Mr. George Mufugeng that I referred to it as the church choir. And I think that really indicated where I'm coming from. By the way, I'm a Methodist preacher, so that is why I referred to the choir as the church choir. So, my apology. I am not going to be long, but the theme of my congratulatory speech is remembering your roots in the midst of achievements and successes. But before doing that, could I just request all of you to rise and give a sign of saying to that lady of the freedom of this country, Winnie Mama Madikizela Mandela, a salute as she joins those that have gone before her. I thank you. Remembering your roots, even as you dance and ululate in the glory of achievements and successes. That is the message which I want to share with you this afternoon. Graduation is a very special day to all of us, as it brings along joy, delight, and happiness. However, as we celebrate our achievements and successes, let us also remember those who have not been fortunate like us, walking across the stage on such a very special and auspicious occasion. Indeed, the spirit of Africa is in our midst. Not many of your ilk have had this opportunity to enroll at a university and to succeed, but you are the chosen ones. And so as you celebrate your achievements, remember your African roots in the midst of your celebrations and jubilations. As an African compatriot myself, endowed with the spirit of Africanism and humanism, I urge you not to forget your roots, as the journey of your careers and successes is starting now. The jingling coins of materialism and richness will soon make your pockets heavy and heavier, and the temptation of turning your backs away from your African background and traditions, as well as forgetting the perennial land question, will be playing heavily on your consciences. Whatever the circumstances may be, please remember not to forget your roots. Remember your roots and your background remembering your roots and your backgrounds will make you a better person. Not only a better person, but a proud citizen of our country. But also, not just a proud citizen of our country, but equally so, an excellent denizen of our continent, Africa, and the world over. I repeat, remember not to forget your African spirit and the beating drums of Africa, the blowing winds of our mother continent, and the pattering waters of our crisscrossing rivers of Africa, and the undulation plains and valleys of our natural architecture, and beautified by our natural mountains, which give an awesome beauty of our land, which the colonizers and the imperialists saw it and deemed it fit to plunder and balkanize. And so, remember, this is your proud, heartfelt African moment. And so, never lose your African identity because of materialism and capitalism. You are graduating at a time when our country is fraught with a mirage and a tapestry of challenges, conundrums, and complexities, informed and driven by perplexities, paradigms, and ineluctable imponderables. And this is the moment for which you have been waiting and the moment which the country has equally been waiting for, producing a new breed of men and women who can stand up straight in an upside-down environment and stand for truth and justice in the midst of prosecution and persecutions. This is the true spirit of Africanism and humanism. Embrace it as a true compatriot of our African continent. Yes, the winds of change are blowing all over South Africa as things fall apart, just to borrow from Chinua Achebe. And South Africa has become a restless nation. And in the midst of all of these challenges, there is you, the newly African-baked intelligentsia. Take up the challenge and make South Africa a true democratic country. Otherwise, if you fail to do so, W.B. Khubusana's words will consistently come to haunt you. And his words are, Zemkingomo Magwalandini. For those of you who don't understand the language, what this means is, loosely translated, your treasure, your heritage, and your wealth are being snatched under your watch, you cowards. You are graduating at a time when the country is mourning the passing on of one of the distinguished freedom fighters of our time, Mrs. Winifred Nomzamo Zanyiwe Madikizela Mandela. And so, the only palpable and plausible gift you can ever give in the loving memory of this freedom stalwart of our time is to press on with the work she has been doing, and that is to continue fighting against the perennial injustices and inequities which have come to be synonymous with our country, South Africa, or shall I say, the true country, Azania. Maybe let me just pause here. There could be those of you who say, the garden has gone absolutely bananas. South Africa is South Africa. South Africa is the only country in Africa which does not have a name. What do I mean by that? South Africa is a geographical location. It is only a country that is at the bottom end of Africa. It is South Africa. Countries like Rhodesia, countries like Southwest Africa have changed their names appropriately. We now no longer have Southern and Northern Rhodesia, but we have Zambia and Zimbabwe. And so we have Namibia. And so we have Mozambique. During our days as members of the South African Students' Organization, informed by the Black Consciousness movement, we referred to this, our country, as Azania. And we used to sing high and raise our clenched fists and say, one Azania, one nation. Why is it that today we continue forgetting the correct name of our country, that is Azania? By the way, South Africa is in Africa, and therefore the name has to change and not only refer to it as a piece of land which is in the southern tip of Africa. Remember your African felt background and do not forget your roots. Charles Dickens, in his masterpiece book, A Tale of Two Cities, posits, and I quote, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was an epoch of belief, it was an epoch of incredulity," I close quote. Yes, in years gone by, it was the best of times to be an African citizen and being a denizen of our continent. But with the advent of imperialists and colonialists, it became the worst of times. It is now your responsibility to take South Africa, maybe let me emphasize, Azania, out of the morass of what William Gumede calls a restless nation and turn it into the best of times. Quite often we hear of the following challenges facing our country: poverty, unemployment, and inequality. These are the demands which are drummed into our heads over and over again, but there seems to be no immediate solution to the said challenges because we seem to have lost our African felt background, and our ancestors have probably turned their backs away from us. And may I also be bold and say, most probably, our African ancestors are beginning to turn their backs away from this institution, not unless we together can come up with a super and a supra-inordinate power of intervention. Graduates, if you fail to listen to the drums of an African beat, Khobusana's words will forever haunt you. Zemkinkomo Makwalandini. I wonder and I ponder as to what the permanent cure is going to be of the following cancerous challenges which are not spoken about quite frequently. And these are corruption, Guptarization, tenderpreneurship, money laundering, fraud and bribery, infrastructural decay, state capture, and the rampant institutional capture. These and many more challenges have led Mahmoud Mamdani to decry in his book, When Victims Become Killers. As you have walked across the stage today, and this being one of the days you will never forget in your lives, are you then going to fall victims of Mahmoud Mamdani's prophetic words, when victims become killers? Maybe let me pause and explain. In years gone by, there were people fighting for a free democratic South Africa, where every citizen, where everybody will enjoy the freedom and the fruits of our democracy. But today, through corruption and Guptarization, the very people who are fighting for this freedom have now become killers of this freedom. And the question is, are you going to join those that have become killers of the very democracy for which they fought? Make sure that in your endeavors, you are counted amongst those who have injected a sense of morality in our bloodstream system. The above are elements of a sick society which have become cantankerous contumacious, and intractable, and therefore require you, the present generation, to fight for a special kind of freedom, not political freedom or radical economic transformation, but freedom which is going to be based on the African values, driven by morality, and taking good care of one another, and thus becoming your brothers or your sisters' keepers. This you will do only when you remember not to forget your African roots and your heartfelt African humanism. I remember and I recall my very own first graduation ceremony many years ago, and I want to concur with my colleague, Professor Jimbo, that I don't really have to give you the year when I graduated for the first degree, because you will start making calculations you are not required to make. And so I prayed an African prayer, and I said, the omniscient and the omnipotent African one, help me not to forget my African roots and my African background. And to this day, my ancestors and my African God have heeded my prayer. Hence, I am a strong believer and an adherent to the African values. The city of gold that is Gauteng is full of glittering lights and shining skies and twinkling stars. And if you are not careful, you may be attracted to these more sheepishly and not look at what is going on down there as you traverse the road full of prizes and surprises. My advice is simple. Walk carefully and beware of quicksands which may swallow and devour you if you forget your African background. Enjoy and celebrate your successes and achievements with pride and humility, but equally take delight in knowing that VUT is celebrating with you. As we do so, we are always inspired and motivated by the philosophy of King Sobhuza II, the late king of the Kingdom of Swaziland, whose African philosophy is captured by Prophet Landandwe in her book, Akusiko Kwami Kwebantu. And those of you who don't understand the Swati language, what this means is, it is not about me, it is about the people. And so, as new graduates and diplomandos, don't think that the qualification that you have belongs to you only. It belongs to the grandparents and your fathers and your mothers and your cousins and your relatives. But most importantly, it belongs to the community and the society and the nation. And so, just accept these words of Landandwe and say to yourselves, Akusiko kwami kwebantu. It is not about me, it is about the people. This philosophy is an embodiment of what it is to be African, and so you too can. You are graduating at a time at which William Gumede is addressing the question of a restless nation, making sense of troubled times. And these are indeed the troubled times. You shall have to navigate your way through to save our country from a disastrous tsunami of economic destruction. Our country is fraught with a high level of moral deficit, and William Gumede, once again, aptly describes the situation as follows, and I quote him. Elected leaders are living the high life on taxpayers' money, and in their bubble of luxury, they are forgetting about the poor, I close quote. This scenario describes a nation which has forgotten its roots. Forgetting the poor is basically turning away from one's own background and one's own self. The opulence associated with the present-day government is an antithesis of the very struggle for liberation which Oliver Tambo and many others strive for. And so, William Gumede goes on to say, our rainbow nation has become a restless nation. Citizens are faced with poor service delivery and corruption, while a new bullying culture has infected both politics and business. The challenge I'm putting before you today is to choose the right path if you want to make a positive contribution to the well-being of our beloved Azania. If you choose to live the life of opulence at the expense of the restless nation, that would be your choice. But I will sleep well in my eternal life, knowing that today I had actually warned you about the dangers of forgetting your African roots. As I conclude, may I remind you of what it means to remember your roots and what it means to remember Africa. I'm drawing from the words of Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe, who in 1949, addressing a similar occasion, graduation ceremony at Fort Hare, said, and I quote, "Let me plead with you, lovers of my Africa, to carry with you into the new world the vision of a new Africa, an Africa reborn, an Africa recrafted. Young Africa, we are the first glimmers of a new dawn," I close quote. These words are still relevant today as they were then 68 years ago. It is therefore appropriate to conclude by quoting Martin Luther King Jr. as he said, "My country, it is of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring." Finally, let me quote as I close from the Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. And those of you who read the Bible and those who don't read the Bible, I challenge you to take the Bible as one of those books which are in the library and you can read, just like some of us do read the Quran. And then, of course, Professor Muloi here promised that she will give me a copy of a Quran. I'm still waiting for it, Prof. And so, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lordly, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. I close quote. But as you traverse this way, remember to take this great nation from one level to the next level, from one glory to the next glory. And by doing so, take this audience and take your family from good to great, from great to better, and from better to awesome, from awesome to auspicious, and from auspicious to ostentatious, from ostentatious to incredible, from incredible to remarkable, from remarkable to fantastic, from fantastic to fabulous, and from fabulous to magnificent, from magnificent to majestic, from majestic to splendid, from splendid to spectacular, from spectacular to evolutionary, from evolutionary to revolutionary, from revolutionary to victory, and from victory to contentment, and from contentment to tetelestai. It is finished. I thank you. Can we all rise for the singing of the national anthem?
Sigeleli Afrika, malupanganiso ondolwayo, izo imithandazo yethu. Nkosi sigelela thina lusapho lwayo, murena bulunga sitshaba sa Yesu.
Can I request the parents to remain seated and relatives whilst the diplomandos and the graduates remain standing? Can the parents take a seat, please? Our new graduates, take out your certificates and hold them in your right hand. And as you do so, look on the side of where your parents and relatives are sitting, and you wave as a sign of saying, thank you very much for your support. And then thereafter, you wave your certificates to the academics, which are here, and say, thank you very much. By virtue of the powers vested in me as Vice Chancellor and Principal, I now dissolve this congregation of the VUT University of Technology.
Ki zabali kuo zabatu